I want to get your response to the president's extraordinary statement today that he is not working for Russia, that the Times reporting it's all a big, fat hoax. What do you think of that?
Well, it makes you scratch your head. I'll tell you that. The president should release all his notes and release all his papers and put this to rest. If indeed he's had no affiliation or association with the Russians, then he can easily put this to rest. You know, we have had a problem, obviously, with the Russians for many years, but particularly since they intervened into our presidential election of 2016 on the side of Trump. And since that time, we've been asking ourselves, was there collusion from the Trump campaign with the Russians to do this? And since that time, Trump has handled Putin with kid gloves. This is a man, Putin is, who was the head of the KGB of the old Soviet Union, has always been an adversary of the United States of America, and yet this president seems to put him on a pedestal. He's attacking leaders of countries that are our allies, but one of our major adversaries, he seems to love the guy, and so it makes you wonder. It's not just one thing or two things, it's many things, and the truth is that since the meetings they had in Helsinki, we really don't know what went on in Helsinki. We don't know what they discussed, we don't know what they did.
Yeah, it is perplexing to a lot of people, at least the treatment of Vladimir Putin by this president. I know that you are head of the Foreign Affairs Committee. You're looking into issuing a subpoena, along with the House Intel, for interpreters at the president's meeting with Vladimir Putin, one way or another. Will Congress hear from interpreters, do you think, these interpreters?
Well, we have not made any decision, certainly not in terms of subpoenas. That should be at the end of a process, really, not the beginning. We're constituting our committees. Our members aren't even all appointed yet. But we are going to be looking at every aspect of this, and I would hope we can get the information we need without subpoenas. But, of course, that the subpoena is always there as a tool that we can use. And I like to tell people that it is absolutely our right, according to the Constitution, with the checks and balances, for us to investigate the executive branch. That has been done many times before in the history of the United States, and we feel it's something that we should be doing and should let the American people know what's going on.
But you know that the White House is they will certainly invoke executive privilege, Congressman. Do you think that House investigators have the legal authority to get those notes and hear from those interpreters?
Well, I think that we have the legal authority to find out the truth and to find out what's going on and to find out what went on, regardless of how that happened. So they can say executive privilege all they want. The fact is we have a right to know, and the American people have a right to know.
Yeah. In one case, the president himself reportedly confiscated the notes from the interpreter after the meeting. Do you have any idea what happened to them after that? What happened to those notes?
I haven't the faintest idea. I frankly didn't even know that the notes were confiscated until I heard it from you guys. It just is another thing that we can add to this mysterious Trump-Putin alliance. It's just crazy. What was on that paper that the president didn't want anybody to see? Yeah. I don't know.
What would you do if the interpreter in this case, Marina Gross, if the interpreter just simply refused to testify?
I don't know. I don't want to put the cart in front of the horse. I mean, I think that I would hope it would not get to that. I think subpoenas should be a last resort, not a first resort, and hopefully we won't have to do the subpoenas. But if we're being stonewalled and we come to the conclusion that there's no other way to get it, well, then it's something we would seriously consider. But I want to make it clear that no decision's been made yet. It's just one of the tools in our box, and I feel strongly that we should use it only as a last resort. But it should be there for possible use.
Are you concerned about the precedent that this could set? I mean, why would foreign governments be candid in private meetings if their conversations could be recounted to U.S. intelligence or to lawmakers?
Well, usually when the President of the United States has these private meetings, people in his cabinet, the Secretary of State, the Defense Secretary, all know what happened. Apparently, and again, it's just what I've been hearing, that wasn't the case here. Nobody really knew what they talked about. Nobody was in the room, and they were not told by the President or anybody else what was talked about. Well, if you have a situation like that, Don, then people are going to say, hey, wait a minute, this doesn't pass the smell test. So what's he trying to hide? And I think that's where we are now.
Congressman Engel, thank you for your time.
My pleasure. Thank you.